Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Ask UWI session. This afternoon, we are going to have an online session for all of you who are interested in our new MSc in Climate Studies. My name is Nataki Kerr, and welcome to our University of the West Indies session. I am the Manager of Brand and Student Recruitment Marketing, and it is my pleasure to take you through our afternoon's proceedings. So today we're talking everything about our brand new MSc in Climate Studies, and we're really happy to have all of you here with us this afternoon. We have our esteemed panel here who will be answering questions and telling you all you need to know about our program. We welcome all those who are now joining us. We have quite a few persons who will be with us here for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, and we are really hopeful that you will get all your questions answered and that you sign up for our program, because our deadline day for submission is actually January 20th, which is this weekend, and 1 or 2 of our classes have started this week. So we really hope that you are able to join us, and we are happy to be able to answer all of your questions. Let me just do a quick introduction of our panel. With me this afternoon is Dr. Keron Niles, who is our program coordinator, and he is here to chat with us about what sort of courses you could expect in the program. We also have Dr. Ronald Rupnarain, who is a lecturer. He is one of our esteemed lecturers here on campus, and he will tell you a bit about, the Caribbean and our unique position with regards to climate change. Any questions you have about what you need to apply, what the prerequisites are, we have Avaloy Forbes, who's here with us from our office, and she'll also be able to answer those questions. And again, if you really wish to apply right away, as soon as our session is over, you need to click on that link and apply. We have Ms. Jacqueline Cash here with us this afternoon from our Graduate Studies office, who will be happy to also answer those questions. Again, I'd like to ask you, all your questions, ask us this afternoon. You can use your raise hand tool and ask us questions. We would love to hear your voice and hear from you. Or if you're a little shy, you can put your questions in the chat, and our team will be very happy to answer all your questions. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Keron Niles, who is quite passionate about this MSc in Climate Studies, and he's going to tell us a bit more about what you could expect in our multidisciplinary program. Dr. Niles?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you here. When I was stepping into the office of my PhD supervisor to begin my journey that led me here, they put a textbook on thermodynamics in front of me and told me to read it. Now, this is after I told them that I counted my fingers. And I told them explicitly that even though I was enrolled into the Department of Physics, math is not my strong point. And they were just like, oh, come anyway, you'll be fine. And as soon as I got there, a massive, massive textbook, I can't stress that, on thermodynamics was put in front of me. And that was because my supervisor was convinced that even though I was there to study climate policy and energy policy and what happens at the intersection of both of them, I couldn't make policy about something that I didn't fundamentally understand. This course will take you on a similar journey. It begins with the science of climate change. Because it doesn't matter how passionate you are about climate change, if you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't understand some of the fundamentals of the science, you're going to find it very hard to grapple with the issues brought about by it, right? Many, many times, policy actually fails, not because people don't have good intentions, but because they don't have a good knowledge base. So the course begins with a course on the science of climate change, a course on climate change mitigation and adaptation, and those are both offered out of the University of West Indies Cave Hill campus. Let me just stop there and tell you something really exciting about this course as well. This is one of the first courses on offer, first master's courses, that is being offered across the campuses. So all of your lectures are not going to be based in Trinidad and Tobago. And for some of your lectures, some people are going to be in the classroom and you might be on Zoom. We have decided to become as innovative as possible to bring students the best quality instruction possible. So there are courses that are on offer throughout the UE that are going to be available to you that you can take in order to achieve this MSc. Now, this is one of the first times that we're doing this. And so, as in any first, there will be difficulties. you know, things might come loose, as they say. So, welcome. It's going to be a journey, but it's going to be exciting. So the first thing I would say is it started those two courses out of the Cable campus, and I also say one time. For those of you that I've been training one time means immediately. I also say one time that those courses are taught as modules, right? Which means that they're taught every day for a month, and then it's done. The other two courses that the course starts off with is my course, which is one on climate change policy directly, and introducing you to those issues, and then one on communicating about climate change impacts and disasters and those kind of things. Because if you can't communicate effectively with people about climate change, then that's problematic. Those 4 courses in total, right, make up the core courses of the program. And if you do just those 4, that's a certificate, done and dusted. Thank you for being with us and have a wonderful, wonderful life. But if you decide to do the postgraduate diploma, you'll be doing those 4 courses plus elective courses, right? Including one non-elective research course. But those are the courses that you'll be doing if you do the postgraduate diploma. Is those 4 courses plus other elective courses, which you'll be doing in September, right? In semester 1. If you want to do the entire master's, it's from January to May, which is semester 2. And it's going to be what is affectionately called summer, but because we're in the Caribbean, we don't have summer. That's called the July-August vacation, Java. You'll be doing courses with us in between that period, and it's going to be a lot of research actually, and it's exciting stuff. Feel free to ask us about that as well. And after you do the research, then you do your semester 1 courses, and that's it. You have your master's. The idea, of course, is that it's modular. Some persons might want just a certificate, others might want a diploma, others yet might want a master's degree. We are here to fulfill your desires in terms of what you want for yourself as a person. How you want to experience this course is up to you. You understand? And it's based on the change that you want to make in the world. We all know that climate change is an existential threat. This course is meant and is actually designed to give you the knowledge to see the change that you want to be, or to realize the change that you want to make in the world. So I have a question in the chat already. Should I start? I start.
Yes. Yes, Dr.
Should I answer it one time?
One time.
Or should I? Okay, one time. A reminder for the non-trained audience, that does mean immediately. Asha is asking, is there option to begin the program in September rather than January? As of now, not yet. No. As of now, that might change because the university is checking to see how if we can change, and that's because, and this to explain why, all of the core courses are actually second semester courses in their January courses for now, including mine. But it only takes a bit of persuasion on the part of the university to ask the lecturers in particular to repeat those courses in semester 1. If that happens, then the program can be offered again in September. But if that doesn't happen, what will happen is that you'll end up starting with the elective courses, right, and then having to do your core courses after, which, I mean, it's not impossible, but it might be difficult for students to really appreciate some of because the elective courses are like on more granular things like energy, like renewable energy and energy efficiency and food systems. And you'll be doing those things and then dial them back to the core thing of climate change, which is a discussion that is still happening. Yeah. So this will be very transparent about that.
Yes, Dr.
Do the core courses cover green? Yeah. Yes, the answer to that question is actually the course that is going on now is a modeling course. hardcore modeling. It's kind of like throwing somebody into the sea. You know, it's an amazing course. But it is a modeling course and it's happening right now. So if you register right now, by next week, hopefully we put you in that modeling course. It's actually going on right now. So yes, I don't know about the inventories though. Inventories is a deeper issue that we can talk about, but I don't think we have time today. But yes, it does. We do cover climate change modeling. Good day, Jeremy is the name. Hi, Jeremy is the name. I have a BSc in agriculture. Can I register with it? Of course you can. I'm sure that Ronald will be very happy that somebody with a BSc in agriculture is registering. That's his people.
Baby.
That's exactly. Do the elective courses make up the concentration? 100% yes. The elective courses do make up the concentrations, and they they are subject to availability. Now, we did our best to make as many to see how we can bring the electives on board. But at the end of the day, if a lecturer, if lecturers, which is happening now more now, if lecturers are on leave and they're not available to teach the courses, we can't make the elective available, right? So that's it for. And I see Nikita. Last one, then I'll stop, and then I think I'll let Ronald go. Last one. Can you discuss the scheduling?
For part-time students.
Yeah, so that's 12 credits only, I believe it is. I think part-time students are only allowed to do 12 credits a year. I think Ms. Cash can help me out there. But that means that instead of the 4 core courses, you probably end up doing 2 core courses. So you're probably going to be doing half the load as everyone else. Which means that if you did the masters, it'll take you 2 years. If you did the certificate, it'll take you, if instead of 1 semester, it'll probably take you 2 semesters. I can stop this. I'm wondering if I should stop. You guys give me the signal. I can. Okay, I go in ahead.
Let's go ahead. 2 more.
Go through and score, as they say. Yes. So you see, Ms. Jacqueline Cash also said yeah. For now, the intake is only for January, not September. All right. At least for now. Did you address just transition the core courses? Yes. In my course, we talk about just transition. There is no just transition course yet. For those of you that are wondering what is this person talking about, just transition is a labor issue essentially at its core, but it's bigger than that. But it actually began as a for example, how do you ensure that petrogen workers, for example, if we have to shut down petrogen, that they're not just cast out into the cold and unable to feed their families because of climate change. And so yes, that is addressed in my course, right? But there's no specific course on just transition. How many electives you have to do in the MSc? I believe it is 4. I believe it is 4, and I'm going to check it now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 electives and 4 electives and a seminar.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and we also,
4 electives, including the seminar. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Dr. Knight. We also have one more question with regards to if the program is virtual and in person. This is Shami Elizabeth. Can you just reiterate the mode of the courses for her so that she will understand the virtual and in-person nature of it?
Yeah, so because one of the things that I like about this is it's kind of innovative. It's blended, which means some of the courses will be online, some of the courses will be in person, but it would also be impacted by where you are, right? What do I mean by that? Well, you remember how I said that the first, like 3 of the 4 core courses are actually K-12 courses. If you are in Barbados, some of those courses are actually in person, and you can go to the classroom. But if you're in Trinidad, you're going to be on Zoom. You're going to be online. So that's a hybrid mode of learning in which we can include everyone. So it's going to be online. Many of the courses that my course offered in Trinidad is actually entirely online. So it's a blended course. Some of the courses are going to be in person, but it does depend on which campus is offering the course. If the lecturer did design their course for in-class participation, you can go to the class if you're in Trinidad and the lecturer is in Trinidad as well. But if not, if the class is out of Mona, unless you plan to fly to Jamaica, you're going to be online as well, right? And yeah, and so the course is accredited as a blended course, so I just want to make sure we're clear about that. But there is some innovation in there in terms of there'll be students taking a blended course online and maybe taking students taking a blended course in person. I think it's pretty cool. It's the first time we're doing that. I mean, I guess I can answer Isaiah's question now. I'd like to study both the ocean and policy. I actually have no idea what you. I think what you mean is you want to study the impact of climate change on the ocean and the impact and you want to study climate change policy. So I'm very passionate about climate policy. So 100% yes on the climate policy part. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, and again, yes about the policy. I'm very passionate about that. On the oceans part, there is an elective stream on coastlines, just coastlines. And so when you say oceans, we don't have an ocean stream, right? What we have is a coastline stream. So and that is different. There would be ways for you to focus on the oceans in the research components of the course, perhaps, but it's not going to be a major focus. I mean, of like a stream or anything. It's not going to be oceans. It's going to be coastlines.
Okay. We have Carice who
Stop
has
there.
a question. Well, before we get to Carice's question, I would like to introduce Dr. Roopnarain to just chat a little bit about the Caribbean and climate change. And we will get to Carice's question. And remember, for everyone, please put your questions in the chat. You see how quickly Dr. Niles and the team is responding. We have Jackie who's online. We are responding as quickly as we can. Put your questions in the chat. We want to talk to you. We want to tell you all about our new program and let us know what you need to know. So right now, Dr. Roopnarain is just going to chat about that a little and we will get back to Carice's question. Maybe he can even look at Carice's question one time because she's asking about if it's possible to do global studies with a concentration in climate studies. So Dr. Roop.
Thanks very much, Nataki. We came up with this program for a specific reason. And one of the reasons is the extreme vulnerability of Caribbean states and the fact that the university itself has tremendous expertise in this particular area, ranging from climate modeling to policy to agriculture, environmental, oceanography as well. And what has happened over time is each campus would have taken different parts based on the demand in their respective countries, etc. And this particular program decided to look at all the expertise related to climate change and bring them all together so that we offer students the best that we have and give them the best possible opportunity to have a holistic understanding of climate change. And the reality is that climate change has become such a modern topic. Everyone speaks about it. And all of a sudden, you have experts in climate change everywhere. Whether or not they have the basis or the actual technical knowledge to call themselves that is another question. So what we are trying to do is ensure that when we put persons out there from the University of the West Indies, that they have the capacity to serve the Caribbean as is required. I think everyone here, based on your interest, would understand the vulnerability of Caribbean states. We understand the challenges with sea level rise, salinization. We understand deforestation. We understand the fact that increasing temperatures could affect our coral reefs, our agricultural sector, our tourism sector to some extent as well, which is the bread and butter for many of our Caribbean islands. So it's something that is very, very critical. And at the same time, I also want to address very quickly those persons who do not believe in the concept of climate change and think that it's an act of God. So the mere fact is that human beings sometimes do not understand the implications of their actions. But at the same time, if you cut down a tree and there's obviously going to be soil erosion, and we understand that is a direct consequence of cutting down a tree or clearing a hillside. So similarly, why is it so difficult to accept that if we burn fossil fuels and put it in the atmosphere, that there could be some adverse effect as well? Yeah. So whether or not you believe in the concept of climate change, the fact is that our actions has consequences on the environment, which ultimately affects and influences the quality of our existence. So the reality is that what we want to do here is to bring all the experts from the university, share that knowledge with you guys, fully equip you all to deal with climate change going forward, and subsequently improve the development and the resilience of Caribbean states as we faced, disasters and climate change going forward. I think that's about it for me. Any other questions or concerns that you all would like me to? I think most questions are really about the program itself directly.
Yeah.
And noting the question. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm seeing we have quite a few questions and we are very happy for that. Jacqueline, I would like us to just take note of Nikita's question because she's asking about when will she know if she's been accepted. So if Nikita could just send us an email or put her email in the chat, and Ms. Sharp will check that, Ms. Cash will check that as soon as possible, because I know that right now we're getting so many applications that we have to process them all, but we're going to check on your own in particular, and we'll get back to you. So please put your email in the chat for us. And we also have another question that I think Ava Loy might be able to answer best. Someone was asking, this is Asha. She was asking about scholarship options. And I know, Ava, that we are in talks with various organizations now. So even though we can't give any definitive information, I know that we are in talks about scholarship options. So Ava, you just want to just a line or two on that to Asha?
Sure. Thanks for the question, Asha. Yes, we do have scholarship options that we are engaging with current stakeholders to ensure that the program is also funded by some of our donors. Nothing yet in writing, but it's conversations that we've been having that are positive. So at least for 2025, January 2025, we will have some, but we are also trying to see if we could get some at least for second semester for those who are doing the master's program. But it's work in progress, and we'll advise Dr. Niles as soon as that information is available.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Ava. I see that Jacqueline has already noted Nikita's information. So Nikita, we're going to get back to you soon. I see Jackie tried to answer you in the chat, but she's going to check specifically on your matter and we'll get back to you soon. Dr. Niles, I think the next question about justice concentration is one that you can handle. So we have a question from, this one is from Allison. Can you check Allison's question about justice concentration and give her a little response there?
So that's a really good question, Allison. Thanks so much for that. The key thing here is what we are trying to do is bring as many people together. So that's a very, very good question. What we have so far is we have available courses right now already in oil and gas. So, and there's another course there as well that the name escapes me right now. I just found it. But it relates to energy transitions and investments. So, and that's a low course. And the energy transition is going to talk about probably more on the renewable energy side and how we actually make these, because we have to go from point A to point B, right, for the sake of the planet. Is it possible to bring or to design a course on international environmental law? Something we're already looking at. Is it already in here yet? Not yet. But as soon as it's brought on stream, it can be added to that to that specialization. So trust me, 100% when you say, and also in some of the seminars, there is room for us to bring some of these people into the classroom as well in the seminar, in the research seminar bits of it. But yes, that is something that is not lost on me. And so that was a very, very good question. I don't know if I was going to say,
I was going to suggest, right, that a lot of the core courses are there, yes, and the program itself has a fair amount of diversity. But the fact is that, you know, there are little intricate things that may not be covered in all the courses. But when you're doing your research aspect or your seminar, you can basically go to any faculty in any of the campuses and seek expertise in those areas to guide your research projects accordingly. So that in itself gives you, I guess, a little bit of flexibility in, you know, if you're doing a research project, you could reach out to the coordinator, say, hey, I'm interested in environmental law. And you might just say, well, okay, I will find a lecturer in the law faculty who has that expertise, who can guide you to do that particular research project. So those sorts of things, I mean, the reality is that it's difficult to have everything covered, but we try our best to highlight the main issues in the region at this point in time. Thanks.
100%. And I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that enough. There are other things that are not in here. I can call it out one time, like climate finance. We don't have a course on climate finance yet. A lot of things are still going to be worked on, but do we have the people around us to actually allow us to do research on this? 100%. So that would answer that. Let me answer some of the other questions I see here one time, because
Yeah,
I know
I'm trying to
Miss
keep
K's
track.
gonna call me on it. No problem, no problem.
Do you have Mackenzie's question?
Yeah, I see it here. Yes, and yes, and yes. As a matter of fact, the green economy is also one of the topics in my course. I also worked on the green economy, particularly in St. Lucia as well. A lot of these issues intersect in terms of how we craft policy for the future that's socially inclusive, environmentally friendly, commercially viable. It's important. So yes, the answer to the question is yes. I am tempted to say more, but I will not. I'll behave. Does the program address any form of carbon management, or does it focus on climate only? I would want the program to be something hands-on that would be applicable to the current job market. Now, if you mean by this CCS, for example, and sequestration issues, we deal with those issues from a policy lens, right?
There's some.
And it's also going to
No, I was just going to, when you
the-
finish, I'll add some technical stuff from the other side, because there is some coverage in it.
Yeah, I was about to say there's also some carbon capture on the forestry side, which is an agriculture. There's also there might be some coverage on the energy side, but what I don't think is in here yet is the engineering of CCS in the Caribbean. I know that our engineering department is working on that seriously, but what our core, at least what my core research focus is on is on the policy side of, does it make sense? And there is a lot of movement on that, and hydrogen on campus, but you're not going to find a course in the Masters in Climate Change on hydrogen, for example. So the same thing goes for hydrogen and CCS in that way. Sorry, Ronald, go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of elaborate on what you were saying, in the sense that some of the courses will have strategies and so on to deal with carbon sequestration, mitigation, adaptation, particularly, I guess, from the agricultural and the environmental side. I just want to reiterate that many people separate agriculture and the environment, which is ridiculous. The fact is that whatever you do in agriculture affects the environment and vice versa, and they should not be studied separately. So there is that opportunity to look at carbon sequestration, adaptation techniques, nature-based solutions as well, right? So lots of our faculty members across campus are looking at different things with the sargassum, for instance, the use of vetiver grass, rainwater harvesting, all these different treated wastewater reuse. All those nature-based solutions that are indirect influencers of climate change are also being captured in various courses. You may not see it in the name of the courses, but the content will be included. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Dr. Roop.
Yeah.
We have quite a few questions here. So Allison's question about fees. Avaloy, can you take that question for Allison about fees? And right after Allison, let's answer Crystal's question about her entry requirements to do the MSc, because she has a BSc and an MBA, and she wants to know if she can do the MSc with that. So let's get the fees.
Yes is the answer. Next question. Go ahead.
While you're there, Daniel asked if she asked if she was admitted. I recall seeing that. So Daniel, I could tell you yes. It will just get official later on.
Yeah, big up yourself, Daniel. Go ahead. Next, keep going.
The program fees, just to add, the MSc is 48,420 TT. I think Asha Maharaj also posted it as well. The
Thank you, Asha.
diploma is 32,280. And this is in Trinidad dollars, Trinidad and Tobago dollars. And the postgraduate certificate is 17,485. Now, if you're not from the Trinidad, then just divide that by 7 to get the US figure. And you should get a ballpark figure of what it would be.
Thanks very much, Avaloy. Jeremy is asking if the program is gate covered. Avaloy, would you like to take that one, or that's Dr. Niles?
Currently, no. Currently, it's not covered by GATE. GATE requires for each program consideration, and of course, it has been sent, and we will follow that up as soon as it gets GATE approval. We will advise.
Okay, great. And Asha is also asking about the seminar symposium. She's already deep into all the courses, and I see Karen nodding his head. So Dr. Niles, can you take that one?
There will be 5 seminars. You need to take 4, I believe, or 3. I think she said 3, but it might actually be, no, there'll be 4 seminars and you need to choose 3. Is it 5 seminars you need to choose 4 or 4 seminars? I think it's actually 5 seminars you need to choose 4. We wrote so much of this and I'm trying to remember every single detail, but yes, we are going to organize seminars of different experts across the streams and across the concentrations rather. And we're going to ask each student to take a number of them. Now, the reason for this is what we don't want is people learning in isolation. So we don't want, because you've done, for example, climate justice, or you did coastlines, or you did something like that, that you know nothing about health. That's not a holistic way of approaching this issue or of approaching climate change. So the idea is to have one seminar on each concentration and mandate that students attend a number of them across them. And that's the key thing. That's the spirit behind that. Because we don't want you to come out of the program tunnel vision.
Thanks very
That's
much.
for those of you that are yeah. So I'll stop there. That's for those of you that
I know that.
I'm not.
Guys, you all have to excuse Dr. Niles. He is very passionate about it. He could talk about climate change and MSc in Climate Studies all day. And by the way, if you all find that this session was really excellent, which I think is going quite well, we can even have another one in case you all need to have more questions answered, because this is a program that we are quite passionate about, just like Dr. Niles, and we want to make sure that you have all your questions answered. I'm happy to say that we are up to date with all our responses because all of us are trying to answer, and Jacqueline is there online too, trying to help us out. We really appreciate, because this is a team effort from the University of the West Indies. I would just like to ask Avaloy, Dr. Rupnaran, you wanted to say something?
No. I'm just turning on my camera so they can see me when the bandwidth is allows.
Okay. Well, they are happy to see you. And just as an aside, Dr. Rupnaran is out of Ireland, and he just made sure he had the time to come on board and make sure he could answer the questions that you all have. But I just want to ask Ava quickly to just reiterate the prerequisites again for some of us who may have come in late, so everybody knows what they have to have in order to join us, and we could try and answer some questions online while Avaloy speaks.
Okay, for that, you require a bachelor's degree from a recognized university, or a diploma or associate degree from a recognized university as well, with at least 3 years experience in sustainable development. All the courses that are listed have no prerequisites, so you don't really need another course to take at least the core courses. So you're good for that as well, just to add.
Okay, thank you.
May I add to that?
Yes, you can, Dr. Rup.
Yes, there is also an opportunity for specially admitted students in a way, right? So if you have significant experience, would have been working in the environment or related field for some time, you can still apply, and there could be a case made for your entrance into the program based on your experience over time. But of course, that's dealt with on a case-by-case basis, all right? Just wanted to add that to show, to highlight how inclusive we are trying to make this program, but at the same time maintain academic integrity. Yeah, thanks.
100%. And just
sorry,
just to build on that. No, that's okay. Just to build on that, just another form of being a specially admitted student is that you can do one course as well. But that's under CPE. You can also send us an email if you're interested. If you heard of a course that you're interested in, some of those courses are available as under what we call continuing professional education. Yeah. And you can also register for those as well, including mine. Like mine is, I have students that I have like journalists and farmers that just come to do my course alone. And so that's so while there is the mature clause, the mature entry route, there is also the CPE route, which is the continuing professional education. That would also give you insight into what we're talking about here, and really trying to open the doors to as many places as possible. Go for it.
Thanks, Dr. Niles. It's good for persons to know that they have options. Not only do we have options in our MSc in Climate Studies, but they have other options in case they just want to dabble a bit in certain specific topics. In answer to Marina's question, yes, we are going to upload this Ask UE session on our YouTube channel afterwards. So please check us out on our socials, which I was going to say. So Marina, you actually preempted me for when I was going to close off, We're going to have this online. We also have a video, I think, with Dr. Niles cueing you in about how he really feels and how passionate he is about this whole thing. We have another interview that Dr. Roop Narayan did a couple of days ago last week on our social media platform. So again, we have information via a whole set of channels. So you can tune in and check us out. Asha has another question about making this a PhD program. Are you all considering making this a PhD program? And if so, the timeline to
gosh,
get from
like-
there. And Asha is speeding down the road with this program. Dr. Niles, you want to take that one?
Of course, I mean, Asha, I want to get us off the ground with this master's first, but the truth is you can actually apply for a PhD now at the Institute of International Relations. We do have PhD students that are doing this stuff on climate change, in part because we have persons like myself and also Dr. Laguardia Martinez. She's also there as well, and she has competence in climate change. So it is possible for you to do a PhD off the bat. Particularly if you have a master's degree and you want to do a PhD on a climate-related topic, for example, climate and gender, or there's a topic that you're very passionate about, you can do that now. There's no need for you to necessarily do a master's first in climate studies. However, you can also, we are, as we develop these competencies in climate studies and the masters, it's very possible that we will introduce a separate PhD in climate studies, because the PhD you will get after, if you did sign up now, I believe it would be a PhD in international relations, but focus on climate studies. But Ronald, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to add, like, I guess that's for the social sciences based PhDs, right? From our side, we also have PhDs in tropical earth and environmental science, which is basically you could cover everything with that. And climate change, lots of people have done projects climate change related. So they're looking at wastewater treatment, they're looking at leachate, they're looking at agroforestry and things like that. So currently there are opportunities across all the faculties, not just at St. Augustine campus, but Mona and Cave Hill, that has PhDs that you could do specific research on in terms of climate change and related issues. But those are like not the taught PhDs. Those are the ones where you just basically do 3-4 core courses, and the majority is really about whatever research topic you decide to pursue. Okay, that's it for me. I see everybody has gone silent. I am also passionate. I know that Nataki has not highlighted my passion, and I feel offended. But
I'm sorry, Dr. Roop. I'm sorry. I'll fix that. But I'm glad that we're able to answer your questions, Asha. And Jeremy, Jeremy just wants to know about part-time and the flexibility of the programs. Can you just reassure him? Because I think he really wants to sign up.
I think Dr. Niles could chime in here as the program coordinator, but we do have the facility to take him in as a part-timer. In terms of the timing, Dr. Niles, can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So what we are doing when it comes to part-time students, because I know how it is to like work and study, it is not easy. I start my classes at 5 p.m. Many lecturers are choosing to do the same. However, if they do not do that, like in the case of the KFL courses that taught us modules, and as I said, their classes are every day for like a month. So, and the time of those classes is actually determined by the student and lecturers. So some students, depending on the cohort of that year, the students in semis choose to have their classes in the morning. Some of them choose to have it in the evening. However, because we're recording all the lectures, we are also facilitating asynchronous education. So when you can't make it to class, you can actually check out the recordings. And that's a big part of this. In order to make this equitable, in order to make this work, we've asked every lecturer to make sure that their classes are recorded so that students can catch up. So students can not just catch up, but participate in the course asynchronously, and that's being done. The modules are daily. Is it 1 hour? That's up to the lecturers, actually. Some of those modules, semis, yeah, I love semis, but some of those lectures are 2 hours a day. Some of those lectures are 3 hours a day. it is up to the students and lecturers because it depends. It makes it flexible for them. Like sometimes students tag another hour on so the course finishes early. So just it depends on the course in particular. It depends on the lecturers and the students. So, but it's definitely not going to be 1 hour a day. I don't think so. No, it's going to be either 2 or 3.
Thanks, Dr. Niles. While we wait for 1 or 2 other questions, because the questions are coming fast and furious, and we're happy to have the dialogue with you guys. Can you just speak a little bit about what does multidisciplinary mean? Because sometimes we say the word and we bandy it about, and the average Joe may not know what you mean. So just kind of explain, what does multidisciplinary mean when we say our MSc in Climate Studies is multidisciplinary?
Sure. So for example, a really good example is you pointed out I'm based in international relations, but my academic background is I have a undergraduate degree in social sciences, government and international relations. I have a master's degree in international law, specializing in oil and gas law. I have a PhD from my department of physics. It kind of gives you a different view of the world, right? We go beyond just looking at problems through the lens of one discipline. So I might be passionate about climate change, but as you just heard, so is Dr. Rupnarine, very passionate about climate change. But the lens through which he views the world is different. And in order to find solutions that are inclusive and that work in different contexts, we need the lens of Dr. Rupnarine, and we need the lens of a Dr. Naz, and we need the lens of an Asher, and we need the lens of a Jeremy, because we all face different realities. And so when we say multidisciplinary, you see how I said before that the course begins with science? And literally, it gets into geophysics and into climate science, and then it goes into politics, like hardcore politics, goes into economics, then it goes into communications. Like a huge part of climate change policy relates to science communication, which is essentially what Ms. Kim and Nataki is doing here today with us. How do you talk to people about this thing? Like, so if you remember the disaster of COVID from the US, when you get so many different messages and the chief surgeon was saying something different from the president, and it was confusing. The chief surgeon saying, don't take hydrochloroquine, and then the president gets up and then say, oh, you can take that and then take some dishwashing liquid and bleach too. It's confusing. People need clear messaging on critical issues, and this is an existential issue. And so when we talk about multidisciplinary, we mean communications, we mean science, we mean, and just in case you're not following, science, humanities, social science, law, everyone is required and everyone is on board. That's what makes this exciting. We have a number of different fields across the entire region, and we're leaning on the comparative advantage that the university has in terms of we're all from small and developing states, and we're lending our expertise in our disciplines to create this program.
Thanks very much, Dr. Niles. As I'm seeing Dr. Rupnarine shaking his head, I feel he has a comment there because I know he wanted us to refer to his passion about the program. Dr. Rupnarine, anything you wanted to add there?
I think Dr. Niles kind of alluded to what I was going to say at the end. And the fact is that the issue of climate change cannot be studied in isolation because it is a cross-cutting issue, right? It is something that affects the environment, it affects agriculture, policy, it affects, even law. And a lot of things that in sports, there's a concentration. We didn't really mention climate change and sports, climate change and health.
Important.
And things we don't think about, like climate change could affect the emergence of new pathogens. It could affect our food in terms of, the quality of what we get from the oceans, etc., the quality of our produce. So because the issue itself is cross-cutting, there's a need to address it from a multidisciplinary perspective, and that is what this program is geared to do. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Dr. Rupnarine. And that's one of the unique selling propositions we have here at the University of the West Indies, in that we have the expertise right here. We have the expertise across disciplines, we have the expertise across faculties, we have the expertise across all the campuses. And that's one of the reasons why we were able to pull this program together and offer it to you guys. And we are happy that you're here with us We are coming down to the closing of our session. I see we actually answered all the questions that were coming fast and furious at us. We're happy that we can have this dialogue with you because it's the first of its kind in the Caribbean, and we appreciate the dialogue. It will also help us to hone and fine tune what we already have, this excellent product that we have. Any questions at all you have, please feel free to email us. I know that we shared the flyer in the chat already. Email us. Jacqueline and her team are rearing and ready to accept those who have already applied. We are there to answer questions you may have. We are there to even look at some of your suggestions as we move forward and try to see what we can do in the Caribbean to tackle this worldwide climate change issues that we have to tackle in this short space of time. Dr. Niles, any closing remarks? Because I see that we've answered all the questions, and you're welcome, Jeremy. Jeremy said thank you. Any closing remarks?
Sure. We're not doing this to look smart or because we didn't have other things to do at university. We all have families. We all like to have fun. We all want to go out and enjoy our lives. We all have other things to do. But climate change can end everything. And this is a really important topic. I have 2 young kids, and if they're going to inherit anything, I think we have to all work together to make sure that we leave the people and the planet in a better place than we found it. Now, good intentions is one thing, and I said this at the start, I'm going to say it one more time. We worked really hard to put this together across all 5 campuses, and it's the first time that this is going to be done, and it's really innovative, and we're proud of it. But as we go throughout the year, we're going to need the feedback of those of you that take this journey with us to make this even better, you know? So don't feel like when you get accepted, yeah, that's it. And you know, well, you just get into the work and you stop communicating with us. No, let us know how it's going. Let us know the good things and the bad things, right? I know people always like, we have a kind of tendency culturally to give the complaints and not the compliments. Don't do me that. I'll work real hard. So give me the complaints, but give me the compliments too, please. That if something is working well, we need to know. But things might break. You know, something might not work. You mean like, oh, somebody might not respond. I need to know. You know, so that when something is this young, we need to care for it. So I want to make sure that that's really clear to everybody. We're doing something we're very, very passionate about it, and we want you to be a part of not just the process, but of building it and making it better. Because it's not just when someone, this is the last thing I'll say about this, when someone walks into our classrooms, we don't see, as university lecturers, we don't see students as empty vessels to be poured in. No, when we educate, we are also being educated. Because the more you learn is the more you realize how much you do not know. So don't come into the classes to be a sponge. Come into the class to also contribute what you know to make this world a better place. I see Carissa's asked another question to be answered.
Yes.
One, as people asking their last questions, go through and score, bring your last questions. I mean, at the end is ask as many questions as you want to, you pay money. Ask your questions. Can someone explain the UE? Oh, thank you, Lord. Somebody asked this question. I was waiting for somebody to ask this question. This is the UE Living Lab. We came up with this idea, and I think it's pretty dope. And big up Claudette, Dr. Claudette Thompson, because it's really her genius behind this. Sorry she couldn't be here, but if she was recording, I mean, big up your whole self. We realized that across university, we have a bunch of institutes and a bunch of centers. And the truth is, not many people know what they do. And not even the students at the university know what they do. So we came up with this idea, we said, hold on, what if we begin to engage some of these institutes? To actually partner with some of the students and doing some of the research. So the idea of a UE Living Lab is to use UE as a living lab. So as you find things that you're passionate about, things that you want to do more research on, we are going to say, well, let's write to some of the institutes on campus because we already have a relationship with them for you to do research with them, to go interview them, go talk to them about what they're doing and see how it relates to what you've learned in the classroom. So example, if you're passionate about climate change and gender, for example, we have the IGDS, the Institute for Gender and Development Studies. If you're passionate about something else, like for example, how volcanic eruptions contribute to the actual warming, then we have the Scientific Research Center that actually might have expertise in that. So what we are looking at is how can all of the knowledge of the UWI be harvested in terms of research. So that's what the UWI Living Lab is about, is actually using UWI as a lab. I think it's pretty cool, but I mean, I would understand if no one else is like as excited as I am about it. These exam-based assessments or project-based assessment, it depends on the course. Different lecturers have different philosophies. If you see a course offered by me that I designed, you are never going to sit an exam. I don't really like them. I say it from the mountaintop. But what we're doing right now is we actually have something called formative assessments, whereby you get assessed during the course. So for my climate change course, students actually 30% of the grade, I believe, is actually students come together to produce a short film on their phones about climate change, right? So it's both ends. So you have essays and projects, and some courses still have exams. So that depends on that. How would exams be in person or online? Well, because of the blended program, a lot of the exams will be online. Of course, some of this might be dependent upon what country you're in, and because some of the exams you might need to come to UWI for and actually do it in one of our classrooms. All of that is it just depends on the actual course in question. Ronald has put on his camera, so I'm going to stop talking. Yeah, please.
No, I'm just
My
going to
passionate
add to
friend.
the exam, right? So sometimes we have arrangements with our sister campuses. So if, for instance, somebody's from Jamaica and doing a course in Trinidad that has an exam, right? We can simply organize with the exams unit to send the paper to the respective country so that it can be administered in that particular country. So it's not always necessary for a student to have to come to the respective campus that is offering the course, to do the exam. So that is also an arrangement that can be made and has been made for other programs that I'm aware of in the past, right? So I don't think that should be a major issue. And further to that, in terms of when you were saying some of the courses, when you look at the course outlines, you will have those that are 100% coursework and those that have maybe 60-40, or depending on how the course is designed and was approved through the different channels. Some of them may have in-course, which will account for your formative assessments, but it may not be 100% as in Dr. Niles' case. It may be 60, and then you may have an exam for 40% or something of that nature. So there's different arrangements based on the different courses that are included in the program.
Thanks very much, Dr. Ru. Guys, we're sadly out of time. I mean, the hour has flown past really, really fast. I think Dr. Niles and Dr. Rupan Avaloy, we have to note Asha and Carice's comments that your passion has really inspired them and it's contagious. So I'm glad that we are able to spread how passionate we are about these things. Obviously, you can see for yourselves how much work we've put into coming up with this program. This is our solution to what's going on in our world. And we were really happy that we were able to have a dialogue. I think that's very important for us, as Dr. Niles alluded to, as we embark on this program. We want to hear from you. We want to engage with you. We want to be there with you as we try to forge ahead in this world we live in. And yes, as one of our attendees asked earlier, we are going to be uploading this series here on our YouTube channel and our social media channel. So please stay tuned. We have Jackie and her team who there. We're going to respond to all those who've applied. You're going to know in short time. And we were so glad that you made the time to be with us this afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. We love to have you here. Thanks again. And we look forward to seeing, hearing, engaging with you soon. That's it for us here at the University of the West Indies and our Ask UWI session in Climate Studies. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.